Alright, welcome to the gaming segment of the show, and today I've got a blast from the past for you. And it's a new game that's gonna send you on a nostalgia trip. It's called Lethis Path of Progress, and it sounds like a weird title, but it's actually a game designed to be a classic city builder. Now, what do I mean by classic city building? Well, it's sort of in the style of the old Sierra Impression city builders, as in Caesar 3, Pharaoh, Zeus, and Emperor. Now, if you've played any of those games from back then, you are going to recognize this game immediately, but there's a few cool new twists this time. In Lethis Path of Progress, it's not set in a historical setting, it's set in a steampunky Victorian French Industrial Revolution sort of era. And they really wanted to make a game that sort of embodied the old Sierra Impression city builders. Now, is that a good thing or not? I'm not too sure, but the game looks absolutely charming, so let's check it out. So, jumping into the game, how's it play? What's so great about Lethis Path of Progress? Well, the whole game itself, first of all, looks absolutely amazing. It's sort of this sort of hand-drawn, cartoony vibe to it, but it's not condescending in any way. It just looks absolutely beautiful, and it's not as sort of colorful as some of the older games, but it does still have a very good aesthetic and feel to the whole steampunky vibe and all of that. Now, the gameplay itself, you have to, if you've never played a city builder before, well, you're setting up a city in certain ways, building blocks, building facilities, harvesting resources, farms, all of that stuff, processing the materials, and then you make money through taxing your people and also import-export, that sort of thing. Now, the game itself, it feels very nice, and it sort of plays exactly like the old Impression city builders. Now, that might be a good thing or a bad thing. If you are used to the old city builders, Caesar 3, Pharaoh, Zeus, and Emperor, well, then you are going to be very familiar with this style of gameplay, and you're going to feel right at home. And after many years of not having a classic city builder, well, now you can jump back into one. But a downside to this is that Triskel Interactive, the game company that developed this game, first of all, this is their first game. So there's some hiccups, some bumps, some bugs. They're still working on that sort of stuff. And as the game progresses, they're still actually patching in new features and content. But when they embodied the old classic city builders, they copied it warts and all, which means even the problems with the old city builders, they exist in this game as well. Now, the whole game, the whole city, runs on what's called the walker system. And the idea is when you place a building, a service building, let's say, it sends out a walker that walks down the path, and it has to pass your houses to provide that service to those buildings. Now, this is okay if you build your cities in nice square blocks or rectangle blocks, but if you try to put a lot of intersections and a lot of crossroads and stuff like that, then your walkers might just go down the wrong way every time. So you have to sort of manage how you build your roads. There is a road block system, but it's still very minimal. And the downside to this is that your cities all start to tend to look the same. And it's not so much a grand sprawling city builder, it's more of a pattern building puzzle simulator. And some of you are gonna love that, and some of you are gonna hate it, because there is this sort of situation where you place a maintenance building next to another building, but every time the maintenance walker spawns, he walks the wrong way, and the building right next to the maintenance building keeps collapsing and falling down and breaking apart. And that's very infuriating. So it sort of limits how you can build your city. But the game does actually progress into more creative ways, and if you actually look up online sort of block designs and city designs, you actually have quite a bit of freedom, but it needs to be very specific. And as the game progresses, it moves on to, as we had in the previous Impression city titles, grand monument buildings and stuff like that. And building monuments is still just as fun. So the game itself is very fun, but only if you're willing to put up with the old style city builder or the Impression titles, the issues, or not sort of the problems, but the quirks of that mechanic. So, is Lethis Path of Progress for you? Well, if you like city building, you're probably going to like it. You have to check how the mechanics work. And if you don't know how the walker system works, please look it up. Once you learn how all the mechanics work and the nuances of the mechanic, then you might be able to enjoy hours and hours and hours of Lethis Path of Progress. And for 40 ringgit on Steam, it's pretty much a cheaper game that you can get. And considering that this is their first game and how it released in a sort of a rocky state, I've been watching the development and the patch notes and stuff like that. And Triskel, the developers, are committed to making their first game a success. So if you should look up the patch notes on the Steam discussion page and stuff like that. And if you like the look of the game and just overall, if you like city builders, you can probably get into it and have a lot of fun, because this sort of game provides endless replayability. It's all about buildings and setting challenges for yourself. Like if you want to make a circular city, that's going to be a challenge, but there is a way to do it. I've seen it done. So, Lethis Path of Progress, a classic city builder. We haven't seen one for a long time, and if this is a financial success, we're probably going to be seeing more classic city builders come back, and maybe with better and more improved mechanics.
I feel so wrong right now. I don't have the Alienware laptop to play my video games. I must go home and play on the console instead. Hope you've enjoyed today's episode of Gadget Nation with me, Adam Carruthers. Big shout out to the Knowledge Centre here at Bursa, Malaysia for hosting us. But of course, we need another week prepare or so to get more gadgets ready for you, so you can always stay on top of the news, and maybe I can give you a helping hand in something that you need in life. In the meantime, Facebook, Twitter, leave your comments, leave anything you want to say or anything you might want to ask us, and we'll do our best to get back to you as well. In the meantime, we shall see you next week. Bye!